Hello and welcome to another CSV Getter tutorial. In this video we're going to show you how to keep an Excel workbook kept up to date with a Notion database like this one. So you can basically create a connection between Notion and Excel and refresh Excel whenever you want with fresh Notion data. And it's really easy to set up this process with an app called CSV Getter. So without further ado, I'll show you how to get started. If you've not logged in, or if you don't know what CSV Getter is, it's a great export and sync tool which lets you to connect to platforms like Airtable, Notion and Google Sheets. This is what the home screen looks like. When you click Create Export, you can select data source. We want to select Notion, and if Notion's not available as an option here, you can just click Add, and then you'll have the option to connect Notion here. And the connection flow is really simple. You basically are brought over to Notion and you can select the pages that you'd like CSV Getter to have access to. Now we require minimum scopes. You can be very selective about what data you allow the platform to have access to. And once you click Allow Access, you'll be redirected back to CSV Getter and you'll be able to set up your export process. So here we have a drop down of the databases that our Notion databases. Now we're interested in Song database over here, so I'll select Song database here, and I'm going to call this my Excel export because I want to create a link to Excel with this export. So you can create a variety of export types on the CSV Getter platform to do lots of things. The next screen you'll see is a screen where we can basically manage our data. What we're doing here is we're basically creating a file that's going to be exported from the CSV Getter platform, and it's fed by our Notion data. On this screen we can remove columns from the data if we want to. We can reorder the columns as that's sometimes important, and there's many options that we have with this file. So we can send this file that we've constructed straight to Google Sheets or Dropbox, for example. But in the process we're setting up with this particular export, we're obviously sending over to Excel. And we're going to use something called the export URL. And this is a URL that when used is going to download the freshest available version of the file that we've configured here. And it's a really powerful URL that can be used in lots of things. So I'm going to show you how it's used in Excel. Now this tutorial is for Excel on Windows. I'm on Mac, so I'm going to open up my virtual machine to show you how to get that process set up, but not before I copy my export URL, which we are going to be using. So over here on my virtual machine, I have a Windows OS running. Now this will be a bit slow since we are using a virtual machine, so I will be stopping and starting the video to account for the lag. Once you've opened up Excel on your Windows machine, just go ahead and create a blank workbook. Now it's really easy to get going. You just click over to the Data tab, and then in this part here where we're talking about getting data, we just click From Web. So after clicking From Web, we're presented with this box where we can enter a URL. Now we have our CSV Getter URL to hand, so we can just go ahead and paste it in the box here and click OK. And then the next screen we're shown is a sample of the data as it comes from CSV Getter. So this is basically what we've seen in the CSV Getter sample screen and what we've seen in Notion, which is our database. Now I'm happy with the data here, so I'm going to go ahead and click Load. So now you can see our Excel workbook has been populated by the data in the Notion database. What's really great about this is it's a live connection, so I can refresh this at any time with my latest Notion data. So I can show you what that looks like. You can see in this column here, I've got green onions 1, so if I go ahead and change this to green onions 2, I can refresh my Excel workbook. So I go over here to the Query and Connections pane. I can click Refresh with a right click. So if I click Refresh there, and you can see green onions has now gone to green onions 2, just like the data was updated in Notion. So that is a use case for CSV Getter, keeping Excel up to date with Notion. Obviously in CSV Getter you can reorder these columns if you need to ensure that everything comes out nicely in your Excel workbook. There's also many ways that you can adjust how your CSV Getter URL works. For example, we have some export examples where you can add parameters to the end of the URL. You could use SQL even inline to determine a special order that comes out of your CSV Getter URL as it loads into Excel, so that skips out the part about using Power Query or formulas in Excel if you needed to do that. There's many ways that you can use this app for very efficient Excel manipulation of data, and you can use it for lots of other things as well. So we are csvgetter.com. If you have any questions, we have a docs website and a guide section, and we have a support email, info@csvgetter.com. So please check out the app and let us know what you think, and thank you for watching this video.